Today we're talking about Kulti by Mariana Zapata. And let me just start by saying, I gave this book 5 stars. Yes, 5. Despite the fact that Mariana Kulti tested my patience approximately 47 times. But we'll get to that. If you've been watching my reviews for a while, you probably already know that I love a good slow burn. And when I say slow burn, I mean I want to suffer. I want to spend hundreds of pages wondering, are these two people ever going to figure out that they like each other? I want longing. I want tension. I want accidental hand touches that feel like a major life event. And Mariana Zapata delivers exactly that. Kulti is basically the queen of making you wait for the romance. And honestly, I ate it up. In this book, we follow Sal, a professional soccer player who is focused on her career and doing what she loves. And then there's Mariana Kulti, a legendary former soccer player who becomes involved with her team. And Kulti, well, Kulti is a lot. He is quiet. He is intimidating. He is mysterious. He has the communication skills of a brick wall. And I'm pretty sure he could win an Olympic gold medal in the sport of staring silently at someone. There were definitely moments where his attitude annoyed me. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I was always patient with him. There were times when I wanted to reach through the book and say, Kulti, please, just use your words. But at the same time, I think that's what made his character so interesting. Because underneath all that grumpiness and silence, you slowly start to see another side of him. And this is probably one of my favorite things about the book. Kulti doesn't necessarily show that he cares by constantly telling Sal how he feels. He shows it by being there. He shows up. He pays attention. He notices things. He quietly becomes someone Sal can rely on. And I really love that. Because sometimes the person who cares about you isn't the one making these huge romantic declarations. It's the person who remembers the little things. The person who notices when something is wrong. The person who shows up without needing to be asked. And I think that's what made Kulti's character work so well for me. Because underneath the whole, I'm going to stare at you and say absolutely nothing thing, there is actually a very caring person. You just have to wait approximately 700 years for him to show you. And speaking of waiting, let's talk about the slow burn. Because this is Mariana Zapata. You know what you're signing up for. You're not getting two characters who meet on page 1 and fall madly in love by chapter 3. No. You are getting a friendship. You are getting conversations. You are getting moments. You are getting tiny little changes in their relationship that you might not even notice at first. And then suddenly you're sitting there thinking, wait a minute. Why do I care this much about these two idiots? And that's when you know you're invested. I really enjoyed watching Sal and Kulti's relationship develop naturally. Their connection didn't feel like it was based purely on physical attraction. They actually got to know each other. They built trust. They became friends. They learned how to be around each other. And then slowly, very, very slowly, those feelings started to change. And when those feelings were finally realized, it wasn't just an easy, oh, I like you like me, great, problem solved. No, now they actually have to figure out what to do about it. Because apparently realizing you're in love with someone is only the beginning of the problem. Who knew? And I really enjoyed watching them navigate that. There was uncertainty. There were complicated emotions. There were things they had to work through. And I liked that the book didn't just magically fix everything the second they realized they had feelings for each other. It felt more realistic. And I think that's one of the reasons I connected with the romance so much. It felt raw. It felt understated. It felt like two people slowly becoming important to each other without even realizing it was happening. And I loved that. Now, another thing I really enjoyed about this book is the fact that it is a sports romance. And I do love a good sports romance. Give me athletes. Give me competition. Give me training scenes. Give me two people who are supposed to be focusing on their careers, but somehow keep getting distracted by each other. I also really like that Sal has her own career and her own goals. She's a professional soccer player, and her life doesn't revolve around finding a relationship. She has ambitions. She has a passion for the sport. She's competitive. And she's actually really good at what she does. So the romance feels like something that develops alongside her life, rather than completely taking over her life. And I really appreciated that. I also loved the contrast between Sal and Kulti. Sal is more expressive. She's funny. She's energetic. And then there's Kulti. Kulti is over there like straight face. Except he's not even smiling. He's just standing there, judging everyone, probably thinking about soccer, and occasionally deciding to communicate through a single facial expression. And somehow, it works. Because watching Sal slowly get through to him was honestly one of my favorite parts of the book. It's like watching someone slowly chip away at a very emotionally unavailable statue. One tiny piece at a time. And eventually you're like, oh my gosh, there is a person in there. Was this book perfect? No. There were definitely moments where I felt the pacing was slow. And Kulti's attitude. Yeah, sometimes I wanted to put him in timeout. But honestly, I think the slow pacing is also part of what makes this type of romance work. Because by the time you get to the emotional payoff, you've spent so much time with these characters. You've watched them become friends. You've watched them trust each other. You've watched their relationship change. And you've watched all those tiny moments slowly add up. So when the feelings finally become impossible to ignore, you feel it too. And that's why, despite my occasional frustration with Kulti and his complete refusal to communicate like a normal person, I still gave this book 5 stars. I loved the slow burn. I loved the sports romance. I loved Sal. I loved watching Kulti slowly reveal the softer side of himself. And most importantly, I loved how his feelings were shown through his actions. Because sometimes you don't need someone to constantly say, I care about you. Sometimes you just need them to show up. And Kulti does that. Eventually. After making us wait forever. But he does it. So if you love slow burn romances, friends to lovers vibes, sports romance, grumpy men who are secretly soft, and relationships that develop slowly through friendship and trust, I definitely recommend giving Kulti a try. Just know what you're getting yourself into. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. Actually, it's a marathon where the runners occasionally stop, stare at each other, refuse to communicate, and then continue running. But if you love a slow burn, it is absolutely worth it. So that is my review of Kulti by Mariana Zapata. I gave it 5 stars, and it has definitely earned a spot among my favorite slow burn romances. And now I want to know, have you read Kulti? And more importantly, how long are you willing to wait for 2 fictional characters to admit they have feelings for each other before you start losing your mind? Because personally, I have apparently decided that my answer is, as long as the book is good enough. And this one was. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe for more book reviews, romance recommendations, and me repeatedly choosing books where the characters take 400 pages to figure out they're in love. I'll see you in the next one.